Welcome to the Bowerham Nursery and Primary School Fun with Maths workshop. The aim of this workshop is to explain how maths fits into the early years foundation stage, to explore what maths teaching and learning looks like within reception, and to share with you some ideas of how you can help your child with maths at home. Where does maths fit in the early years foundation stage? The early years foundation stage is broken into 7 areas of learning, 3 prime areas and 4 specific areas. The prime areas of learning: communication and language, physical development, and personal, social and emotional development. The 4 areas of learning: literacy, maths, understanding the world, and expressive arts and design. Running alongside the 7 areas of learning are the characteristics of effective learning: playing and exploring, active learning, and creating and thinking critically. Each of the characteristics of effective learning is essential for children to become independent thinkers and confident mathematicians. Within the early years curriculum, maths is broken into 2 sections: a section for number and a section for shape, space and measure. The early learning goal is the expected level for children to reach at the end of reception year. In number, children should be able to count reliably with numbers from 1 to 20, place them in order and say which number is 1 more or 1 less than a given number. They should be able to use quantities and objects. They should be able to add and subtract 2 single-digit numbers and count on or back to find the right answer. Children should be able to solve number problems, including doubling, halving, and sharing. Some children will exceed the early learning goal. For those children who have exceeded the early learning goal, they should be able to estimate a number of objects and check quantities by counting up to 20. They should be solving practical problems that involve combining groups of 2, 5 or 10, or sharing into equal groups. Here we can see some examples of children. Here you can see some examples of observations of children in the early years using math skills. In the bottom left of the screen is an observation of William, who used his math skills in the role-play area. William went to the Tesco role-play area outside and purchased 2 items. He used his fingers to add 3 and 3 together. He said, "It is 6p." Just above, you can see an example of children recording their numbers and a number sentence. 6 add 4 equals 10. This has been shown through numerals and mathematical symbols, but also by the child having a line of 6 pebbles and writing a line of 4 pebbles and then counting them all together. If we look down at the bottom of the screen, we see that Ethan's observation shows him using mathematical language: most, more than, and numerals. Ethan got most. Ethan got 7. Harry got 5. Ethan got 2 more than Harry. Shape, space and measure. Early learning goal. Children who are meeting the early learning goal in shape, space and measure should be using everyday language to talk about size, weight, capacity, position, distance, time and money. Children should be using this language to compare quantities and objects and to solve problems of their own. Children will recognise, create and describe patterns. They will explore characteristics of everyday objects and shapes and use mathematical language to describe them. For those children who are working beyond the early learning goal, those children should be estimating, measuring, weighing and comparing and ordering objects and talking about properties, position and time. Here we can see a few examples of observations of children who are meeting the early learning goal by the end of reception year. To the right hand side, after collecting twigs, children use plasticine to make shapes. They discuss the properties of shapes with the practitioner. Look, I have made a triangle with 3 twigs. It's got 3 corners. The child in this observation is using objects to recreate a shape that she knows, and she's able to use mathematical language to describe that shape. It's a triangle with 3 corners. Just to the left of that observation, we see a child who has been observed using a computer program to make a pattern of 3 repeating colours. She used the pointer to select the colours and draw on the smartboard. She said, "Look at my pattern." How do our children learn maths in Bowerham Reception? Each day the children will have a carpet session linked to maths and number problems, and every Monday morning they will take part in a big problem which challenges the children to solve problems. Later in the year we will be sending home big problem homework. Every day we have magical maths groups to offer more focused maths exercises, and throughout our daily routine the children count at registration time, sing a Days of the Week song, we complete a daily visual timetable, and number songs are always happening during carpet time. What does maths look like in reception? Adult-led play. Adult-led play allows adults to model mathematical skills and introduce mathematical concepts for the children to use during their own play. Adults can focus on specific aspects of learning and address mathematical misconceptions. Adults can demonstrate and encourage the use of mathematical language through everyday play and exploration. Whole class teaching. Teachers will plan activities to introduce your children to key mathematical concepts. Teachers use children's interests as a basis for their planning to ensure that all children are engaged and are given a context to which they can relate. Children work together to develop not only their mathematical abilities, but also their listening, attention, collaboration and communication skills. Whole class teaching allows teachers to teach and model skills, concepts and mathematical language. Whole class teaching allows teachers to assess where more support may be needed in the future. Child-initiated play. Children are able to choose their own mathematical learning through a series of activities based on their interests around the classroom. It allows children to explore different approaches and reach mathematical conclusions themselves. It allows them to practice skills and language in a safe and personal way that suits them, and encourages critical thinking, problem solving and perseverance. Early numbers and counting. Spontaneous counting will begin to be more refined. Children will experiment with their numbers, and as grown-ups we need to value partial understanding. Children do not understand things straight away. We need to praise their attempts, and where they get things wrong and make mistakes, as grown-ups we need to model correctly. Number rhymes and songs should include songs which count back and count forward, songs which start at a number and go down to none, songs which count in pairs, songs which count in fives, songs which count in tens, and beyond. Children need to understand that anything can be counted, not just objects. Calculation. Children will be able to compare groups and quantities using one-to-one correspondence to find the difference. This is early subtraction. Children will learn to share objects equally by counting how many in each group and checking that each group has the same amount. This is early division. Children will be able to count groups of the same number of objects and then add them together. Early multiplication. Children will learn to count back from a fixed number when taking away, and children will learn to count on from a fixed number when combining two groups of objects. This is early subtraction and early addition. Children will also learn how to find one more, one less, two more, or two less by counting on or back. We need to help learners shift from thinking, "I can't do this," to "I can't do this yet," to encourage in all learners a can-do attitude. Developing an "I can't do this yet" disposition means being comfortable with getting stuck on some mathematics. This runs counter to many children's experiences in mathematics lessons, where a measure of being good at maths is how quickly you can get to the answer.